I will do my usual intro and then have you welcome the new
Done AI
people.
this week. Yeah, what have I done in AI this week? Marvelism, writing more songs. Oh yeah, I've got to send over that stuff from ChatGPT to you as well. I have to jump off a few minutes early, a couple of minutes early, because I've got a call with Casey.
Okay.
Right, let's let everybody in. Here we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's trying to sing at the same time and write down words at the same time. It's not easy to do.
We have
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everyone.
Good morning.
Good
Hey,
morning,
Helen.
everyone.
Helen, you should be so glad you are not here in Arizona. It is over 100 degrees here in California.
Wow.
It's
It
been a
is,
crazy week.
oh, hang on, I need this phone. I've got one phone on Fahrenheit and one phone on Celsius.
Yeah,
So
we
where I
got,
am right now is 53 degrees. That's awesome.
yep, and we broke records yesterday for the hottest time in Denver in history. So,
Wow.
Us too. In
Yeah.
California, yeah, we're sending it your way, Emilyn. And it was good to see you on. I was thinking, it's too bad Terza wasn't on. Did the lake ever come on to talk about marbleism
oh,
Yeah,
yesterday on Debbie Morrow's show?
yes,
yeah.
yes, Lake
And I
did.
think,
Okay.
Tirza, I tried to get a lead for you. One lady on the call was asking for someone to help her. She wanted to pay someone to help her set up Marbleism,
Mhm.
and I direct messaged her. But I think also Debbie Morrow, um, she said I have somebody that for you, and I'm sure she was thinking of you. So you'll probably get that from Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I was in that conversation too, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, I know exactly who Debbie's going to call.
All right, awesome, you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Open Office Hour. I'm Terza Ekholm, co-founder of Zanakin Studio. And joining me as always is my co-founder and co-host, Helen Brahms. Helen brings the creative vision to Zanakin Studio and helps translate everything we do with AI into things real businesses can actually use. So, Helen, why don't you start us off the way we like to by actually welcoming our new members and asking our community what they've been experimenting with this week?
My favorite part. I love learning from other people. So this is a great way to do it. So everybody, kia ora and welcome. Kia ora means hello in New Zealand. It also means goodbye as well, but it's one of those words. But kia ora. I'm coming to you live from today, Raumati Beach in New Zealand, which is about 20 minutes from my actual home because I am dog sitting this gorgeous 13-year-old border collie. And he's still in bed asleep because it's 5 o'clock in the morning. And I've already been up for 2 hours. So welcome to our AI Open Office. It is always great to see everybody, and we're going to learn about how people are using AI. So this week I used AI again. I'm still writing songs. I'm in this musical creative zone right now, and I'm having so much fun with it. And I'm sending out songs and greeting cards with a QR code on there for people to scan so they get to go to that song. You can't just go to the YouTube channel and find it. You have to have the QR code to get there, which is awesome. And people have been scanning those and listening to the songs, which is amazing. What else have I been using it for? Oh, yeah. So Terza and I came up with a business idea. So I've been talking with ChatGPT, going backwards and forwards on that. And Terza will get the information from that today. I'm going to send that over to her. And I've been in Marbleism again, creating our weekly blog along with our weekly social media posts to go out, which is always fun to do. And going in and changing a couple of them because sometimes Marbleism is putting in a different website to what we want in there. And all of that. So, well, I forgot to welcome all these new people. There's all these new names appearing, which is awesome. So welcome. Thank you for finding us. We've got some new people coming back that we haven't seen for a while as well. Always love to see the growth in the community. So our question for you today is, how are you using AI this week? How have you been using AI? What have you found? What has upset you? What has been a great victory for you? Like saved you gazillion hours of doing something? Like creating social media posts and things. So Take yourself off mute, raise your hand. And Emilyn, how have you been using AI this week?
Well, I'm continuing my efforts, even with the hours that it's saving me, but working on taxes. And, when you have multiple businesses, and trying to document all of the expenses as well as income, if you have any, AI has helped me sort of organize it so that it's saved me a number of hours. And I can't wait to get this behind me so I can get back into my creative end of what I want to do.
Awesome. Love that taxes. Yes, I got that thing coming up too. Excellent. Well done. Well done. Peggy, how are you using AI this week?
I actually gave to my assistant and to do someone wants us to put our book together as a course
Mm-hmm.
for schools. So I asked her if she'd like to do the what's it called?
Syllabus.
Huh?
Syllabus?
Syllabus for the course. And what she did, I mean, she used Perplexity, and what came back was really not much of a syllabus. And I realized, well, I didn't tell her the prompts. She doesn't realize that she needs to be using prompts to tell them. So we went over and I gave her a whole bunch of prompts to use to do it again because it's supposed to give you like an outline of what to teach each day, and it didn't do that. And so I gave her a dozen prompts, and my is it Sunny that does the posting?
Mhm.
Sunny, I'm getting feedback even from who's on all the time. He gave me some nice kudos. So Sunny's doing a good job. I have to get back in and do another week of that. And I need to find about whoever it is that does the phone calls because I'm making a lot of phone calls, but I'm thinking the second time around I could use the receptionist to make the phone calls to see if they'd like to set up an appointment, and that would be one more touch, right? Because I think I'm not getting response because we haven't done enough touches.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Great job. Kelly, welcome. What did you use AI for this week? I love all these uses of AI.
Okay, so what I'm using AI for is to initiate a app to combat misinformation and propaganda because we have too much of that in the world right now. And I'm working with a team of 5. And I guess you could say that I had it help me, if you understand what I'm saying, you may not, MVP for my GitHub repo, which is more or less the 5 pillars of development. And what it does is it reads the proposal, the business proposal, right? And the architecture behind the development. And more or less anything I gave it, it goes in, reads it, and then builds the MVP. So the MVP is kind of your diagram to get other developers started in that repo. So it's a step-by-step instruction. So it did
Awesome.
really well actually, but I think that some of the key things that I guess I could add to that is that in development you really need to have some form of architecture in place, what types of tech stack you're going to be using. So there was a lot of research behind this before it even touched that, but I was really surprised at how quickly it did it. I do use AI, not as much as I have this year, only because the fact is that, I come from a background of developers and, a lot of developers are on fence about it because the fact is there's no security initiated with some of the development that's going on right now, saying that people are not informed. So what we're trying to do is actually build a 5-point along with, I mean, it's a huge platform, okay? So we're also trying to build the 5 pillars of development with AI so that anybody could come in and utilize this tool and do it the right way. Because
Awesome.
yeah, I think it'll be helpful because there's a lot of people utilizing Claude. Well, it depends on which one you use, right? Gemini, Claude, whatever. I have like 200 open AI systems saved on my laptop. And we just want it to be a little bit more user-friendly, educational, and safe.
Yes.
So that's what we're
Excellent.
trying to do.
Love
Very,
that.
very
Great.
nice,
Thank you for
especially the
sharing.
safe. I'm glad to
Yes.
hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, welcome.
Hello, yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm Jen Gofretti Huerta, and I own Insightful Ascent. So I used also for taxes, I was able to turn my business bank statements into a profit and loss statement, which was,
Nice.
I mean, how many hours did that save me? It was ridiculous. And then, of course, to get some verbiage for some events that I'm hosting on LinkedIn, right? So my question, and I saw on Meetup, Terza, you had posted about Claude. So I want to tell you guys just really briefly about what I want to do, and I love input as to which tool. So I am a Pinnacle consultant, and this Pinnacle is a business growth framework, and it has these 80 some tools, mostly PDFs, but fillable, some other things. And then I have different clients. So I want to have an enclosed system in which I can upload all the tools. And then for each client, I can also upload the, meeting notes, things I've learned from their website, things that they tell me, and basically have it tell me which tool I should introduce next. So thoughts and ideas.
That is an interesting question.
I love that.
And I saw Terza's face just go and glow.
Yes, Todd jumped the gun on what I was going to say. Yes, I think that's the one of the perfect use cases for NotebookLM. In your case, you may want the NotebookLM Plus,
Yep.
but if you're so I don't know what the current limits are, but for the free version for
50.
NotebookLM, I think it's just 50. For the
Yeah.
advanced version, it's 500. But even so, even if you use the free, if you kind of segregate your notebooks, you'll still be able to ask the different questions of your different notebooks. It's just not as convenient as having one complete notebook where you can do that. But the thing is that when you ask for it to be perfectly bounded, that's one way to do it. And so when you ask the questions about which thing do I need to order next, or one of the prompts that it has is creating a mind map,
Oh, nice.
which will give you a very nice starting point. And if it's not displaying correctly, you'll know that you'll need some more organization around your notes. So, and then for each one of your modules, you could create an overview, as well as audio overviews and really, really great presentation videos. If you don't like its videos, which is fine because you can customize them, this is which is absolutely wonderful. However, another thing that it will do is generate slides per your specific instructions, and then you can give the presentation for the slides.
Excellent. Thank you. And I saw another one of my colleagues had used Claude Co-work for that. So how would you all contrast or compare those?
Oh, I'm not yet prepared to do that. I just got started with Claude Co-work myself, so I'm sharing what I'm learning as I go. But there are
Okay.
some really good YouTube videos about people who've already done exactly that. So if you do a search on how to combine Claude with Notebook or Claude Co-work with Notebook, there's already some out there. One person I would highly recommend is his name is Kyle Balmer, Balmer. And he goes by AI with Kyle is his username. He has a great user community. He does give a lot of free stuff, and of course, yes, he has a lot of paid things that are also worthwhile.
So you would combine them then?
Yes, you can combine them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'm still learning about all these things too. Like what to put where. Can you put this notebook against that one and that note against that and everything else? So
It's
excellent.
so exciting.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Well, thank you, Jen.
What was the Claude tool that you were mentioning?
Claude Co-work. That's what I'm covering today is Claude Co-work. And I'll get into that after we do our shares here.
All right, anybody else used AI this week? Paul,
I'll
welcome
speak
back.
up. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a while. Been a lot of traveling, vacation kind of stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, so and I was actually in New Zealand just for a couple of days. We took a trip down to Antarctica. So we started out of the
Christchurch?
place. Well, Christchurch, this place south of
Operation
Christchurch.
Deep Freeze.
Yeah, something like that.
It is literally called Operation Deep Freeze, and it is where the Antarctica people go from is Operation Deep Freeze in Christchurch.
Okay.
And that's how you get down to Antarctica. So they call it Operation Deep Freeze.
Yeah, I saw a section of it over by the airport too, and a couple of the vans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah, I've been using Copilot personally for Copilots from the Microsoft people for TurboTax Online assistance. It makes me wonder why TurboTax Online people don't actually have an AI assistant that is worthy. It's like this should be a no-brainer for some of these larger companies to get on board on this trek. Perplexity. Well, last year Zoom, no, it was PayPal had a deal with Perplexity. You could get 1 free year of Perplexity Pro if you signed up for their auto payment. I think I heard that here. So it's like I did that, and Perplexity has actually gotten pretty good using their Comet browser because then it can read the tabs. Copilot can read tabs also, depending on what browser you're using, and Gemini, I think, can start reading tabs now. So it's useful for your entire web aspect. But using that, I was listening to an X Prize podcast on. There's a new X Prize for a prospective future that is not a Terminator future, but more of a Star Trek future. And I had found a video that I really enjoyed from a long time ago. That was back in 2017, I think. They did a live action Jetsons intro. If you remember George Jetsons. So this is an outstanding little video. I'll post the clip link in here. And I basically trying to connect the people, connect the X Prize people with people who created this video and using Perplexity to help draft all that up and do the analysis of who to actually contact. Disappointing aspect, though, is I've got from these trips I take large amounts of video. I've not found an AI assistant that will help me take 50 gigabytes of GoPro video, iPhone video, Android video, and pictures and put them together into a 5-minute or some sort of a short video. Most of the video, even the desktop video things I use, if I try to use their AI, it craps out about 10 minutes into it. And if I don't use the AI, then I'm sorting through all these videos myself, which is where I wanted to use the AI.
Yeah.
I would also be interested because I'm doing videos. I'm in the same place, Paul.
Okay, well, if I find something that actually is working better than what is out there, I'll bring it up in this forum.
That'd be great.
What was it?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Paul, it is, I mean, this is just general AI. And when I give it too much, if I say, here's all this stuff, now do something with it. And even if I try to get very discreet and detailed in my prompts, it just usually gets all munged up. Do you think it might be, you might be able to sit above the AI and ask the AI to pull out of the video's metadata and then just be organizing the metadata and manipulating the metadata, and then tell the AI to keep tags on the from the metadata to the videos, and then you could be the director, and then you could tell the AI, the AI could be a lower level assistant where you're the guy on top actually pulling the strings and making the decisions based upon metadata. It's just a thought. And then maybe you
Yeah.
can even trim it down, go in again, sometimes you go in stages. You're like, you don't just say write a book, you say, well, give me an outline. And then you organize the outline, and then you say, okay, now here's the outline we're going to use. And then you now give me, table of contents or something. So just maybe splitting it up into smaller jobs instead of asking it to digest the whole thing. You might come up with a strategy that might work for you.
Yeah, I think the issue with metadata, I'm not too much aware. For example, if I have a raw GoPro video of 3 or 4 gigabytes, I'm not sure if there's any metadata that comes from the GoPro per se, except for like the timeline and here's the audio track, here's the video track. When I've used the AI for small clips, like when I post up onto Facebook, it comes down to is that, as far as I know, the AI is actually going through and seeing the video. And then it can be somewhat directed. This is not too intuitive. You want the action parts. So if there's a face or a person or a human or an animal, it can focus on giving you those clips out of the video, but it has to cycle through the analysis. When you do have metadata, and this is here again, I'm not quite sure if we're talking the same. The metadata, like if you have on a YouTube video, there's metadata that somebody's put in there for here is the almost like the subtitles. And here's a section that's talking about X, Y, and Z, and here's another section, P, Q, and R, and they put that in timeline of the comment section. A lot of bloggers do that. You can click on various segments. That kind of metadata has already done the analysis of where things are and what they're doing. So is that kind of metadata that you were talking about, Gary?
Well, I was just saying, if you try and ask it to do too much at one time, it'll get clogged up.
Yeah.
But so maybe there's a way where you can be using it as a tool where you're thinking through the process and you're saying, okay, well, what could I reasonably expect AI to do, at this level? And maybe you're just trying to bin all your videos, into certain
Right.
categories. And maybe you, along with AI, and AI can keep track of it. And you're then saying, okay, here's a bunch of stuff that does this, and here's this, and then you can go in. I mean, it's probably going to be more hands-on than you wanted it to be, but it might be the only effective way to do it,
Right.
where you're actually using AI as a tool to keep track of, and you're tagging things, and this
Right.
person was in that video, and this location was there, and then you go through and you start organizing it, and it's your assistant to help you keep it organized. And then once you got things tied together where you know what's there, it's not just raw video. Then now you build the metadata with the AI, and it's keeping
Right.
track of it. And then now you can say, okay, what are the options that we could do with this AI, knowing that we have some stuff over here that was there, and this stuff that has this kind of content. Give me some ideas for how I could arrange this, and it'll give you some arrangements. And then you can kind of say, okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. So I'm just saying, I think you have to be involved in the process more, thinking through the process and helping
Right.
AI do what would overwhelm you, but you're doing the stuff that would overwhelm the AI.
Right. Yeah. You've given me an idea, like you said, breaking this down into smaller pieces. So
Yeah, yeah.
the GoPro videos are usually, they top out around 2 or 3 gigabytes. I think I'm seeing one up around 4. And if just do the analytics on each segment, and then that cools it down, then maybe it's a little bit smaller chunk to throw it all together, or by that time I'll know how to fit it all together.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
thank you guys, Paul and Gary. This is super interesting, and I know there's a lot of stuff happening on this. Peggy had asked if Cast Magic does this. I don't think Cast Magic will do the thing that Paul is looking for, Peggy. And I'm not quite as familiar with the video tools, but I've been reading about what Google Google Gemini has been coming out with, and that's the VO3 and Flow and some other ones. So it might not be there yet, Paul, but there are companies working on some things
I
like this.
posted something called In Video, and it makes movies. I don't know whether you have to spend time with it, but I posted it so you could check it out and see if that would be of help.
Yeah. I mean, eventually some of these things are, if you want to be creative, you can give the prompts and you'll get the short video clips. And now people are actually working on, 10 to 15 minute, movie shorts. But it's progressing along. And I think a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'm also trying to keep it in-house, so to speak. There is the thing about some of the data privacy and some of the local or not local, the large language models out of China, I just don't trust yet, even if they are open source and free. There's just something that says, wait.
Yeah, that's very wise, especially to Kelly's point earlier about the guardrails and the lack of safety. Yes, which is why I took a long time to get started into the agent space, because that was something I was very sensitive to as well. So let's go ahead and switch gears here. I will give you a short demo of Claude Co-work. First, I want to mention that I'm testing a new playbook live today. If you want, it's here. We'll put the link to it later in the chat. And oh, by the way, if you want to put in your contact information in the chat, feel free to do that as well.
And
So-
Terza, I do have to drop at the bottom of the hour, sorry, but I would love to watch the recording. I see it's recording, so I'll put my info in here, and I'd love to get that if possible later.
Absolutely, be happy to send it to you, Kelly.
Great.
Not Kelly, sorry, Jen.
The girly, I was like, well, thank you, appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, so Claude Co-work. This is kind of a in between. So I'm not sure why Anthropic created this, except maybe to be this in between. Because when the developers were talking about things that were so easy to use, vibe coding, non-techies, a lot of the things that Kelly mentioned were absolutely true. Plus, when you're in the developer community, and Kelly can probably attest to this, you understand a lot more of what's going on, and so then you start to take a lot of things for granted that beginners do not, and things that beginners that need to know. So I think Claude Co-work was developed by Anthropic to sort of be a go-between between Claude the chatbot and Claude Code. And because then the next natural step in the evolution, if you want to call it, would be Claude Code if you prefer to write your own things. But you can do a lot with Claude Co-work, and I want to go over a couple of caveats before I get directly into it. The first things that I read was that Claude Code, they were saying, oh, you should go get your own Mac Mini, and here's what I've learned about that. You don't have to run out and buy a Mac Mini. You can do this on your Mac notebook. But just know, this is a super important caveat, if you close your browser, if your computer goes into sleep mode, if you don't leave it on, then if it's working on a task for you, it stops. So this is one of the things that OpenClaw opened our eyes to, which is, yes, these people were saying, oh, I gave it a task and I went to bed and woke up the next morning and all this stuff was done. True, although it may have come at a cost. But what they did was they bought a Mac Mini and dedicated that Mac Mini to those autonomous processes. Claude Co-work is an in-between. As long as you give it tasks that will complete within a reasonable time frame, I'd say you can go ahead and do it on your MacBook, which is exactly what I did. Now, more and more things like OpenClaw and some other things are moving to the cloud. There's a lot more available to us in the cloud. But for today, we're just going to go, I'm going with a super simple, this is how you get started on Claude Co-work. And I have a playbook and a cheat sheet available for people at the end to take a look at, plus this video.
And
So
why are you saying Mac all the time? Is it not for PC?
Not yet, not right. All these things that I've been talking about have been made available on Mac. Apparently, Apple's pretty popular, I guess. So it's not yet. Some of these things are not yet available on Windows, but they will be. And that's what I know so far about that. This is a fast-moving field. Probably by the time that it's the end of this, it might be available. It's not quite that fast, but it feels like it at times. So, all right. So thank you, Jen. All right. So, you could think of Claude Co-work like an employee that only works when your office lights are on. That might be one way to think about it. So I will go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to jump right into Claude Co-work. So when you download it, it is a separate app on your computer. Now, here's the shift in your thinking. Some people have made this, most of us have not. What we've been doing up until 2026, basically, is we've been chatting with our LLMs. So if I were to ask ChatGPT about some of these things, ChatGPT would tell me how to do it, and then I have to go off and do it. And that's true whether it was a set of instructions that I needed to do for creating a funnel or whatever. Now, with things like Claude Co-work and agents, change your mindset. Don't go chatting with Claude Co-work. Not very much, anyway. Just for helping you plan, but not much more than that. In fact, I would say continue your talking over things with Claude, as in chatting, to help you plan your agents and your autonomous work, and then take what you learned from that over to Claude Co-work. So now adjust your thinking to, I'm not asking for information anymore. I'm asking you to go do stuff for me. So if you haven't done it already, you would need to download, you go to claude.com / I don't remember the thing, but you'll need to download the Claude Co-work, the app. Also on your computer, create a folder on your desktop called Claude Co-work. That's just easy. And then put in 3 subfolders. One is called, hang on, I can't show you that, but I can tell you what it is. Well, actually, I can show you. Hang on a moment. All right, you should be looking at my entire laptop, and I hope, here's my desktop, and here's Claude Co-work. So actually you want 4 folders. About me, and this is about your style, what to do, what not to do, and I'll show you how to do that really easy within Claude. A folder for Claude outputs. So again, with those guardrails, you want the outputs to go to only one folder. So you're keeping this centralized to your own machine. And then projects. This is your project files. In this case, you want a separate folder for each file. Here, let me just make that a little bit bigger. And then templates that you'll be using. So this is a great way to start. So this is what you need to do to start. Okay. So, Kelly posted that or shared that it is there for Windows, Gary. So probably the people I follow are very Apple-centric, so that's why I see it that way. All right. So let me stop this share and go back to my other share. Oop, there we go. All right. So one of the things that Claude has been creating for some time now are things called skills. These are things that are developed both by Anthropic and the user community. So there is a place to, I haven't done much of a search on it, but there's a place. They're kind of like GPTs when I talked about those earlier a few months ago. So these are skill files. And the reason, you don't need to know all about them right now. The reason I'm mentioning that is because this particular prompt is called Ask User Question, and this will save you a bunch of time. So I'm going to copy this prompt and put it in the chat, and so you can save it for later. Hello, chat. Okay. First prompt. Okay, so what this will do, this will guide Claude into creating the About Me files. So when I put that, it says I need to create 2 context files for Claude Co-work. File 1 is the About Me -MD. MD just stands for Markdown. Ask me questions about who I am, what I do, who my audience is, and my current priorities. Use the Ask User Question tool. So I'm telling Claude Co-work exactly what to do. Then write the file, which it will put in that folder. File number 2 is anti-AI writing style.md. This is also super useful. Ask me what I hate about AI writing, what phrases make me cringe, how I actually write versus how AI writes, and use the Ask User Question tool. Then write the file, save both to my About Me folder. So that was the very first instruction I gave it. And you can see you won't see the entire thing that it does, although if you're watching you can. It says loaded tools, ran a command, and it says, great, I can see your About Me folder. Let me start by asking you the questions for both files. And it's exactly what it did. It asked me these 3 primary questions, which of course I answered it. And then it says, got it, business owner. You know, it reflected back to me what I said. And then the next thing, what kind of business do you run? What's your vibe, brand, personality? And so then it updated its to-do list. And then it moves on to the second set of questions is what AI-generated phrases or patterns make you cringe the most? And these are the ones that I wrote in there. I probably could have done a longer list, but these are the ones that came to my mind straight away. What's the biggest structural problem with how AI writes? And I said too many bullet points, too enthusiastic or positive. And then how would you describe your actual writing style? And I said warm but direct. So, and then it asked me further questions, one more round on the writing style, any other AI writing habits that drive you crazy beyond the ones you already picked. And I wrote fake empathy openers and emoji exclamation overload. These are my personal ones. You'll put in the ones that matter to you. And it says now I've got everything I need, write both files, and it did. And gave me the link so I don't have to go searching on my computer. They're right here. So the first captures who you are, your audience, your current focus on streaming ops. And the second is the style guide that bans the phrases you hate and lays out how your writing actually sounds. Warm, direct, no fluff. Feel free to tweak either one and I can update them. So here they are. If I were to click here, of course, I could edit them right there, or I can go out of this window and go edit them some other way. So then once I had done that and I came back and I clicked on new task over here in the left-hand column. Okay, so sorry, just to help orient you a little bit. Let me move this so I can see it. It's similar to the LLMs we've been used to, only instead of saying new chat over here on the left side, it says new task. And then search, that'll be for skills and some other things. Which ones you've scheduled and which ones you can, which ones you've scheduled, that's true. This next thing that I haven't tried is brand new. It's called Dispatch, just released by Anthropic, which allows you to use your phone to give Claude Co-work tasks. That's pretty exciting. things like OpenClaw and some other ones have been using WhatsApp and Telegram to talk to their, or for their humans to talk to them, so to speak. And then, of course, there's always ideas and more customization. So if you just click on New Task, for example, actually what it did for me first is it actually gave me a list of suggestions I could try. And one of the ones that it suggested was to organize my desktop screenshots. So I said, sure, why not? I need it, because you could actually see my desktop. It was littered with screenshots that I just hadn't gotten around to looking at and deleting. And part of the reason is because it takes too long. I have to look at each one and figure out which ones, and 99% of them actually I can delete. But I said, okay, fine, tell me. Or, do this. Help me reorganize recent screenshots on my desktop. And it came with this prompt. I didn't write this. I just, when I said, yes, do that, this is what it came up with. So this is, it's basically it's prompt to itself. Group similar screenshots together, show me the plan before making any changes. So this is where you want to do some chatting with Claude Co-work to help you get started, to get set up. Once you get a good feel for how this works, I would take this whole this planning conversation over to Claude itself and just talk to it. And then come back here and put in the prompts. That being said, this is not, some of the complaints you've had about getting the right prompts to get ChatGPT or Claude or any of them to respond the way you want. There's a lot of that going on here too if you're using Claude Co-work. It's just, it's part of all of our growth, including Anthropic's growth. So anyway, I read through this and I went, yep, that looks good. And it got started, and I have to say initially I was thrilled. It's going through these. Oh, by the way, I said just start with the last 14 days of files. I didn't say do my entire life, not yet. So it did that. It gave me an overview of my desktop, which had 171 files from January 22 to March 16. But the last 14 days, when I gave it this, were 54 files. Okay, great. They said March 4 alone has 27 screenshots. Looks like a heavy working day. All right. So then it read 10 files, updated the to-do list because I wanted it to stay bounded. And it gave me a lot of information about what they were. It gives me some idea of if I want to delete them or not. All 54 files reviewed. Now let me build the organization plan. And this is the work it's doing. I'm reading through this going, wow, this is great. I'm actually watching this, scroll up on the screen. Yep, group for these are, and I'm thinking this is great. Goes all the way. I'm not going to read the whole thing, of course. It gave me a summary by the numbers, and then it says, before I touch anything, want me to proceed with this plan. This is why working with Claude Co-work, if you're just getting started into this, is a really nice bridge before you get into the more advanced ways of doing this. And I said, this is great, proceed with the plan, and it even flagged the 22 files as deletable, but it didn't delete them. It put them into a folder called These Can Be Deleted, which makes it so much easier for me. I just open that folder and I can do a quick scan and say, yep, go ahead and delete them. So this is great, except that a little bit further on, so it did all these 54 wonderfully. And then it said, let me know if you'd like to tackle the older ones, the rest of them. And I said, yeah, go ahead. And this is where it ran into an issue. It says an image in the conversation exceeds the dimension limit for many image requests, 2,000 pixels. Start a new session with fewer images. I didn't interpret that correctly. So I said, do this task in batches of 50 images, thinking that would fix the problem. And I get the same error. And I said, okay, tell me the image causing the error. I'll just go delete it. No. So actually at this point, Anthropic it gave me a little survey pop up and asked me some questions about that. So it submitted its own bug report, which I never heard back from, and I wasn't really expecting to. So, okay, fine. I did what it said, start a new session with fewer images, and went on to the next one. And I won't go through the whole thing, but eventually, the upshot of this whole conversation was it never did complete the rest of the task, whatever the error was. And this is just part of our learning. So then I went to a completely different task about planning a meetup group event. And what I did for this was I put a file into the project files. That's that folder you saw about meetup. The task, one of the things that was that I had asked you to do and I was doing myself was, what can I automate? What can I take off my plate that I hate doing? And because I have lots of meetup groups that I organize or co-organize, when I do an event, I have to go, because of meetup's rules, I have to go into each one separately to update them, which is why some of you are here. I will give you a very big caveat about this. I did figure out a way to do it. However, this involves having Claude Co-work go over to my browser, and I had to give it permission to do that, and log into Meetup as me. Or in this case, I created a event organizer. So it's logged in as me, and now it's creating the events. And it really did pretty well until it got to the event image, and again it just kind of choked on that. So I took out the event header image and said just do the rest of it, and it did several for me. The issue with that is it's not entirely autonomous. I'm babysitting it, and I was concerned about Meetup's actual policies because they don't want bots to do this because they already sell this feature in their Meetup Pro. and ironically, if I were to have Claude Co-work do this or Claude Code do this, I would need access to the Meetup API, which you can have if you upgrade to Meetup Pro. At which point, I would just have Meetup Pro do it. So the answer is yes, you can do it. And no, you shouldn't. But those are my explanations. My point really being, plan some things to try and do some conversations with Claude itself first. So instead of going through a bunch of examples today, I gave you some so I can show you what worked and what didn't. I created a playbook along with which includes a one-page cheat sheet. So if that's something that interests you, just let me know and I'll send you that link.
Terza,
Yes.
Peggy has a question that says, I can reorganize my documents in the business file. So can she reorganize her documents in the business file using Claude Co-work?
Yes, you could. Yep. Yep. Other questions? Thanks, Paul. Oh, one of the things that I didn't mention, the way that I set this up, it won't start any new tasks until it goes and reads everything in the About Me folder. So that's kind of like the standard instructions. Just to remind it, these are the things I like, these are the things I don't like. Do not stray away from any of these list of tasks.
Are you concerned, like with the Zoom aspect, or were you concerned at all with an agent basically personifying you as far as Zoom was concerned?
Oh, that's an interesting thought. Nope, hadn't thought of that, but that is.
Uh,
You're right. I could create an avatar and put my avatar in here.
well, yeah, well, it's more along the lines of these agents. I call them my minions because they'll go off and do what I tell them to do based upon their education and understanding. And when we start giving the agents credentials to muck with your desktop, and I actually had one, this is before agents, write some code to muck with my desktop, looking for images and videos. And it sort of worked out okay. And still, until I told it, yeah, go ahead and delete those. And then found out it deleted the wrong set. That was annoying. Anyways, but that's where I guess I'm getting to is that some of these things we want them to do things on our behalf in the real world. And Zoom, you say, Zoom Pro, you got to get the API and whatnot. Well, they can actually just, if you're in a web browser, they can do anything you want it to do, really, now. And it's like you clicking the buttons because you gave it your password and credentials to Zoom to set up a meeting.
Yes, exactly. So now instead of having annoying note takers, we'll have annoying agents.
Yes.
It's a super valid concern. Um, yeah. So, oh yes, yes, good question. What you need to do is upgrade to Claude Pro, Dean, and it's $20 a month. An additional caveat I want to share with you. That only gives you access to, or it gives you a certain number of tokens, which Anthropic doesn't really say how many tokens. But because of my explorations, I ran out of tokens my very first day. It resets the following day. So I came back and did some more things. But the point being, and many people have already said this, the point being, you'll probably find yourself upgrading to the $100 a month subscription really fast
To be useful, to be fully useful,
to
right?
be fully useful.
Let me ask you, Tirza, how does this fit in with your daily life? I mean, you have Marburlism, and that's doing several tasks for you and taking some, weight off your or taking things off your plate. So
Mhm.
how does this fit in with your concept, or did you sign up for this to learn about it and show us about it?
Say that last part again.
In other words, um, did you enroll in Coworker to uh, I guess complete a piece of your business that maybe Marvelism wasn't covering for you?
That's what I wanted to explore because there are plenty of things that, while Marbleism does a lot of amazing things and they're continuing to grow themselves, um, there's a lot of things they don't do that I need done that I get so um, frustrated is not the right word. They're mundane. I have lists of things that just need to be done in the background, and Marbleism doesn't do that. And I wasn't yet ready to embrace Claude code to write the code, or like the things you've been doing, Dean, for example. Um, I wasn't ready to jump into that arena. You've already done, you and Gary both Zapier and Make and some other things. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. I'm always doing that. One of the third party, agent builders, where Marvelism is a cookie cutter type of thing. And for, I would say 95% of the population, is just amazing. And some of these other third party AIs actually let you build the agent, give it a specific set of instructions, and it will conduct those on a daily basis for you and exactly what you tell them to do and nothing more, nothing less type of thing.
Yes.
So that's you really answered my question. For me, Marvelism is fantastic, and especially social media and so forth. But there are a lot of things, I would call them the invisible tasks or the things in the background that Marbleism isn't designed to just think about and do for you. So you really answered my question. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So next week, I want to share, I will be sharing a little bit something different next week, which is a more visible way to create agents on the fly. If you want to continue with Claude Co-work and leading into Claude Code, um, I'm not going there next week. I'm going to something that I think will be much simpler for all of us to use. So if you're interested in that, I'm actually pretty excited. So what happened was, as I was creating this demo for Claude, I came across this whole other platform and dove right into it, and I'm super excited to share it with you next week. I think it's the way that Xanakin Studio, Helen and I are going to go, but I have to show it to her first. She might like that. But anyway, my plan is to share that with you next week. So, no, it's not anti-gravity, Todd. That's a good question. I haven't played much with that. Have you? Anti-gravity is Gemini's version of Claude, Claude Code, Claude Co-work.
No, I have not played with it. I'm tempted. I've been trying to compare between Claude Code versus anti-gravity, see which one comes out ahead. I'm hearing anti-gravity has a little bit more pros compared to Claude.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing. I saw some YouTubers that done some heavy comparison analysis. So I use AI Studios. I use this Gemini Pro pretty religiously. So I'm kind of leaning towards anti-gravity because I feel the Google's AI ecosystem is much more complete. Because it covers all aspects of it, and Google being the largest search engines in the world, so I think it does have a lot more caveats, right? NotebookLM is another plus. That's kind of my thoughts right now so far. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. But I'm also looking into OpenClaw, right? So I'm thinking that using like a virtual machine, and then on top of that, I want to add a NemoClaw, which is NVIDIA's new layer of security on that to just kind of see how that goes. Yeah. But yesterday I tried the I don't know if you guys heard of it. There's a new one called I think a Mini Max. Is that what it is? Have you heard about that? Mini Max?
Mm-mm. No.
Okay.
What about that?
So it's relatively new. I think it's sort of another version of using OpenClaw to create another AI platform. I just saw the video. I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I took like 20 minutes. I upload some of my document and say, hey, create me a landing page based on 4 internal documents that I have. It just ripped within 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Nice.
yeah, a landing page that looks so professional. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm thrilled with the way things are going. I think you're right about Google though, because Google has an advantage over all the other ones. I think in that, first of all, it's the biggest search engine in the world,
Hmm.
and what they may have been slower to come on the scene. However, they've got an enormous advantage, and just like you said, they're creating their ecosystem. So what Google is slowly doing is something that Paul's already experienced with Comet. Perplexity has come out, sorry, with its computer. Their agent embedded browsers. Well, what Google is doing is embedding its artificial intelligence in everything in its ecosystem. So sometimes you'll know that you're engaging with it, other times it'll just be seamless and you won't. And I'm thinking that's more of what the users really want to experience.
You're absolutely right because I didn't start out with I started with the Gemini, right? That's what I started doing. I guess in the industry, they call level one, two, three, and four, like as far as where you are within the AI space. Level one being more like you just talking to AI, right? Like question and answer. Level two meaning that you're now asking them to generate some information for you by writing documents and writing analysis. That's kind of level two. And level three is kind of when you start moving into more more like a high level agentic type of operation, having it handle some autonomous stuff for you. And level four meaning like complete autonomous, right? There's no hands on. You just say go rip, do everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I just want to go to the beachside and sipping on my margarita. You do all the work for me, right? That's kind of level four, like fully autonomous. That's kind of the direction. So what I see is my I started out with Gemini and having sort of do my business plan, writing a lot of product development requirement, all these things, right? And so when I start jumping into the new Google AI tools, and suddenly the information I'm getting back is that it's retrieving information that wasn't on this platform. It was on the platform that I was using previously, right? I was like, so obviously there's some kind of connection within all these tools inside Google ecosystem. He's grabbing this new tool is grabbing all the data from Gemini Pro that it shouldn't have it, right? I asked him, hey, go run me this stuff. Now I'm looking at all the output. It's like, wait a minute, how did they get all this stuff? Well, I think they're within the ecosystem is talking to each other. It understands that all these historical files that you have asked Gemini is out there. I can access to. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like I didn't go ask her how'd you get all these stuff, but that's what I'm thinking. You shouldn't have
I, I think you're right. Which is one of the guardrails of many guardrails. Privacy is a super huge issue, which is why for some time some people have been downloading their own LLMs on their computers, um, and putting a fence around them, a moat.
Yeah, guardrails.
So right, so it won't go out on the internet and share all your information. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's already happened. My husband and I are amused when we drink coffee every morning and look out the window and watch the birds and the wildlife. And we're just amused at some of the things that we're talking about. Later shows up in my Google feed or my Facebook feed. It said, "Oh, you want to have this, don't you?" Yeah, no, we were just talking.
Yeah, it's changing so fast. Like every few days, something pops out. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terza, I use Gemini quite a bit, and I've noticed a vast improvement in the result. I have a Gmail workspace account, and so that comes with Gemini. And I just noted a vast improvement in her searches or her in its searches and production. And then now they give you that, I think, three tiers. You can select fast for quick answers and so forth. And then thinking or deep think for more complex type of things. And of course, that limits you. It cut me off last night. Um,
Yeah.
but a big improvement, and I think I read somewhere, maybe you know about this. OpenAI is in talks with Google to actually use their Gemini or their AI because OpenAI's LLM or whatever it is isn't good enough for what they're for the back end for their clients. So they are losing some business because their generative AI or whatever is not as good as some of the other Perplexity or some of the other companies. And so I don't know if you read that they were in talks with Google for using their Gemini, their competitor, using their competitors' AI for their back end. That's
No, I
amazing.
hadn't heard that, but that's fascinating. That could be really interesting. Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you everyone for joining me on the open office hour, And come back next week where I'm thrilled to share with you this new platform I discovered. Imagine just a quick overview, not an overview, but just a teaser. Imagine being able to not only talk with everyone on your team, or if you're a solo entrepreneur, yourself, or and your VAs, if you have them. But imagine now being able to bring all the different LLMs into your chat. So you ask Claude to do something, and it comes back with something, and then you bring Chat GPT directly into that conversation. You say, okay, reviewed what Claude did, and then you bring in Perplexity into that same situation. So you don't have to go back and forth. It's all there in the same place, and you say, hey, write me up a user guide for this, or whatever order you would do it in. So not only can you talk with your teammates, you can talk with your AI agents, and you can talk with the different LLMs. So come back next week. Invite a friend. And thank you so much. Have an awesome day. Oh, this comes out in an email too. See you later.